Hi guys, I'd like to tell you the story of the princess. So there was a king and a queen who had a daughter, and they loved her very, very much. This beautiful little princess was born into a beautiful castle with so much love. When she was very young, before she even turned one, she was kidnapped by some very evil people. They happened to be fishmongers, and they took this little gal, this little princess, with them to all of their outings for catching the fish, gutting and cleaning the fish. And they were very abusive to this little girl. And her way of life for many years was very, very filled with stinky fish and living in little huts or living in very unsafe, unclean, and very unpleasant environments. Now, the king and the queen were very, very hopeful that they would find her someday. So every single year they updated her room. Now should be 6, now should be 7, now should be at 8. And bought the clothes that would be her, the size she would be now, and decorated the room to be age appropriate. And they had many people looking for their daughter. Year after year after year, with so much hope. We will find her someday. We are going to find her someday. When this little girl turned 12, that is the year that she was found. And they brought her to the castle. And the mother and father, the king and the queen, wept for joy. They embraced her, they hugged her. They had so much love pouring out for her. They cleaned her up. They put these beautiful clothes on her. They took her to her room and showed her this beautiful, amazing, exquisite room filled with a large closet of clothing and crowns and jewels. And in her room there was a high canopy bed with silk sheets and blankets, and it had downy pillows, and just was absolutely the most comfortable, comforting situation for sleeping, and just such a beautiful, safe environment. And again, just so much love, not only from the king and queen, but from all the people. The princess was home. She was finally home. So the interesting thing that happened, and it is something that proves that we get very used to what feels normal to us, even if it isn't better. She felt very uncomfortable, the princess. She was uncomfortable with the love. She was uncomfortable with that clean smell. She was used to the fish smell. She was uncomfortable with the beauty around her. So the very first night when they tucked her in, she crawled up the ladder to that canopy bed. They said, "Good night, we love you," and they left the room. She was laying there and she felt so uncomfortable. She crawled back down and she went on the hard floor to sleep. She slept on the hard floor because that is what felt normal to her. That's what she was used to. Well, time went on, weeks and weeks went on, and she, in the very beginning, few days, just wanted to go home, which meant back to the abuse and back to, fish guts being everywhere, and sleeping on the dirt and on the ground. But they kept showing her the love. They kept treating her like the princess that she was. And one day, after a few months, something clicked in her brain, and her brain rewired, and it started to shift. And all of a sudden, she started seeing the beauty that was around her. Oh my goodness. She was noticing the beauty. She was feeling the love. And she was starting to feel the miracle of her life and understand who she was. And she started to feel this beautiful joy. And then she could see and feel the difference between sleeping on the ground or on the dirt and sleeping in this comfortable bed and seeing that one way was much better and that she indeed belonged where she was. That was the first night that she got tucked in, where she stayed up in her bed. And this time when she stayed up in her bed, she wrapped the silky sheet and the downy pillow and the silky comforter around her, and she just felt the pure comfort and joy of this new bed that for weeks she hadn't, because she just couldn't let herself realize the princess she was. This night she slept all night on this bed. She woke up the next day and she smelled the beautiful perfumes and the kitchen making delicious food. And she enjoyed her beautiful bath and being clean. And then her parents came in to hug her and say, "Hi, we love you. How are you today? What do you need?" And she saw it. She saw what was really happening around her, the reality that was true. And she began to accept the princess that she already was. So in this princess story, I want you to think about the princess you already are. And when we come down onto this earth, we have situations that are not always perfect, that aren't always smooth, not always ideal. Sometimes we have situations where we are abused or we are sleeping on the ground. And it's part of this journey and what we're going to learn and how we're going to grow. But we can see the princess we already are, our royal divinity. We are daughters of God and sons of God too. And of course, we are the princesses and the princes, the kings and the queens. And so when you find yourself crawling back down and getting comfortable on the ground to sleep, metaphorically, when you find yourself doing a behavior that is normal and you're used to it, but that you know that it isn't the princess that you are, not what you deserve, take a look and let your body feel that and say, "I am the princess," and climb back up and get back on that beautiful canopy bed and find that divinity within you. Recognize it and feel the warmth and the joy of the love. And recognize the castle and all the things laid out before you that can remind you of your divinity. Thanks so much.